Okay, great. So, hi everyone. Again, my name is Ilya, and I'm the CEO and founder of VanHack. It's a company that helps tech talent get jobs abroad, and also helps great companies find we like to say diamonds in the rough, amazing, great talent you might not have heard about, that wants to relocate to your city. And today we'll be going over the Global Skills Visa to really understand what it takes to bring talent into Canada. It's been a new visa that came out on the 12th of June, and we'll go through all the details and then take some Q&A. I really prefer that this is an interactive session. The reason we're doing it on Zoom is so that you can speak and ask a question and have a conversation with us, rather than just kind of doing a death by PowerPoint. So if anyone has any questions, maybe not right now, but after or during the presentation that I do, please feel free, either just chat or if you want to actually ask a question in voice, just unmute yourself and go ahead. So without further ado, let's get into the presentation. I think Madusha is doing a Facebook Live or something. That's cool. So before I get started, can everyone see my screen? Is it working? Just want to make sure if someone could just say yes or...
Yes, it's working.
Cool. Okay, great. So great. Again, another kind of disclaimer here. I am not a visa consultant. I'm going to go into some kind of visa questions, and all this information is publicly available on the Government of Canada website, the CIC website, or I guess now it's IRCC. You can also, the way we work is we partner up with several immigration firms nationally, including Ernst & Young, and they help us with this after we do the process. So again, just huge disclaimer, take what you learn and make sure you get some legal help if there's anything that's not clear. So let's go into this exciting new visa. So it's called the Global Skills Strategy, and it came out, as I mentioned, on June 12th. Basically, the goal here was to reduce the LMIA, the labor market impact assessment, or actually even remove it really for technical talent. And it's all about bringing in high skilled, low risk talent to Canada in order to help high growth companies get the skills that they need into their teams in order to start growing. And then this is a pilot program. So basically they're doing it as a test to see what happens and kind of go from there. So the first thing you need to know about this program is that there's two dedicated streams. I'll actually go into that quickly. So in a second. So there's stream A and there's stream B. So category A and category B. Category A is for very high specialized skill talent that's making over $80,000, and category B is more for talent on what they call the global occupations list. We'll get into the details a little bit later. Yes.
For some reason, does everybody see the screen properly? Because I only see Is it full screen yet?
I didn't put the slides on full screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just because I didn't want to do that. I could, I guess. How do I do that? Keep on, I guess, play. Is that better? Can you guys see full screen now? It's good?
Yeah, now we can see all the slides you had listed.
Okay, sorry, it was too small the text. Okay, cool. Nice catch, Madusha. Thank you. And welcome for everyone who just joined us recently. So so quickly, let's get into it. So there's, again, talent, there's stream A and there's stream B. So stream A, we'll get into the differences there of those two soon. Just quick thing for you to know. So how did it used to be? It used to take over 10 weeks. It was a lot of really hard work, a lot of bureaucracy. Basically, it was really a lot of headache, and companies were really worried about how to go through it. You had to, before, for everyone who's familiar, you had to have an advertising requirements. You had to actually advertise not only for a certain amount of time, with 4 weeks before you could actually start the LMIA, but and send that forms into Services Canada. We actually had to put it in a specific website in a specific way. So a lot of times companies would put it for 4 weeks and then they wouldn't do it the right way. So they had to wait another 4 weeks. So it was a big headache for everyone. So now that's changed. So now it's actually 20 business days, 10 business days for the LMIA to be approved, and another 10 business days for the work permit to be approved. And we'll go into details of how that all works. So another good thing about this is that it's not only for the candidate, it's actually also for their whole families. So it includes their spouse, any kids, common law, dependents or children. And also the candidate has to be outside of Canada when they apply. It's a really important thing. So if you have candidates who are in Canada, they would have to go and pick up at the border and come back. And then you can submit it online, or you can fax it in to Services Canada and make sure that it's complete when you go through it. Although one really important thing, one great thing about this new visa is that it doesn't have to be like 100% without any errors, because they actually call you the next day and then they help you make the visa. They help you fill out the form. I've never seen a visa in my entire life that is where the actual government calls you and helps you fill it out. Usually it's, you check the wrong box here or there and you have to start all over again. In this case, they actually call you and work with you to make it even better. So as I was talking, there's the two different categories you have to go through. So category A and category B. Basically, the difference for category A and category B is that you have to have, for category A, it's $80 per $1,000 of labor, of annual salary, and then, or if you are with a designated referral partner. And then category B, I'll go into the NOC codes there as well. And you also have to create a labor market benefit plan, which we'll get into details as well. So okay, category A. Really, you want to show that these people are specialized talent. They have advanced industry knowledge. 5 years experience in the field. These could be, really senior hardware engineers or something like this. Or if you've been referred to by a designated referral partner, examples of those are Mars and Communitech.
Ilya, we lost you there.
Can you guys hear him?
No, we lost it.
Okay.
It's frozen.
Okay, let's see what we can do. Hold on one second. Okay, we got him back up. Ilya, you there? We can't hear you, Ilya.
His mic is off.
I cannot hear anyone.
Ilya, you yourself is muted, by the way.
All right, yeah, that's a good one. I'm back. I think what happens is when you join, you're on mute. So okay, I'm back. Nice. All right,
Okay.
cool. So,
We missed the whole category A.
okay, great. So let's go back. So category A is for highly specialized global talent. And on honesty, we've done 6 or 7 of these now, and no one we haven't had to do a category A yet because most technical talent fits into category B. And so you don't have to really worry about this unless you're hiring someone with a super specialized skill that doesn't fit into category B. And basically you can qualify them. If they don't fit into category B, you can qualify under category A if you are referred by a designated referral partner. So get in touch with Communitech or with Mars, BC Tech in Vancouver, and there's many others. There's a list on the Government of Canada website. And I can also share a list over. I'm seeing a question here in the chat. Geared towards tech talent only. Yes, I mean, the definition of tech talent is pretty broad, but I'll go over what kind of tech talent means to the government in category B. But mostly, this is for anyone working, in tech. Although category B, or sorry, category A, you could make I guess like if it's someone who was like a senior manager or something like that, and is in technical, potentially they could qualify in category A, but mostly, and thank you, whoever copied and pasted those, I'm guessing it was Medusha, into the chat. Thank you. Okay, cool. So let's get into category B, and then we'll take a pause for questions, and then I will also show how to fill out the form. So category B, this is really, if you look at it, so the way that this works is the government use something called a NOC code. If you can see on the top left of this picture or of the screenshot here, it's something called a NOC code, an NOC code. What a NOC code is, it stands for National Occupation Classification. So it's a way of classifying labor. So there's different NOC codes for different types of labor. So 2173 is software engineers and designers, 2175 web designers and developers, and then et cetera, et cetera. Other NOC codes might be someone who works in a restaurant, or someone who works as a doctor or something like this. So these are the NOC codes that fit. So this is, I guess you can see these are all technical talents. So computer engineers, database analysts, and database administrators, computer programmers, all of these. One really important thing about NOC codes is you don't have to get it right. The government won't penalize you if you, for example, put 2173 when it should have been 2175. But one really, really important thing is that the NOC codes have a average or median wage in specific regions around Canada that you have to meet. So you cannot bring someone in, and we've seen a couple employers have actually to raise the salary of the temporary foreign worker that they're bringing in, because they haven't met that. For example, 2173 software engineers and designers, it has to be around $78,000 a year of salary in Vancouver, just for example, one on the top of my head. And there's a way to check this. It's called the Canada Job Bank, and we'll be sharing along with this video a blog post that has all the links that you guys need to see. But basically, you want to make sure that you've done your homework on that, so you go in with your eyes open when making the offer. So this is a way the government is protecting local market, and really they don't want this to be seen as a way to bring in lower cost international labor into the economy. So that's really important. So another thing that's really important to do is to create a labor market benefit plan. And let me actually show you what that would look like in order to kind of, I'll share that actually an example of one of those rather than just slides, because I think that'll be more beneficial. So let me just pull that up quickly and share another channel, and then we'll take some questions. Okay, so now I'm sharing the sample labor market benefit plan. So again, everyone can see this? Yes?
Yeah, we can see it.
Cool, thanks, Medusha. Okay, great. So basically the only real complicated part of this visa is what's known as the labor market benefit plan. Before, I used to do an impact assessment. So you can kind of think the mindset the government's changed is, instead of what's the negative impact of bringing in this talent to the Canadian market, it's what's the positive benefit of bringing talent in to the country under this. And so basically what you need to do here is create a plan that will show what you will do for the next 2 years, because this visa is a 2-year visa. And so you have to show what you will do and what the bringing of this employee will do for the Canadian labor market. This is a link to this is again on our blog, but basically you want to write a little bit about, the employer. So a little bit more about the company, the kind of things you want it to do, talk about how many positions you're bringing in, the NOC codes. And then here you want to talk about things like increasing investments and in-house skilling, training, investments. So I guess they just wrote this twice. So delete. But basically increasing training in your company, something like this. And then going a little bit more into what that looks like, commitment, 4 to 6 hours a week, something like that. And then they're going to check in. And then when the government will check in with you, you're going to provide what that looks like. Another thing is having the employee directly supervise or mentor other Canadians. Or Canadians. So let's say you bring in a senior software engineer and they're going to be leading a team or they're going to be mentoring other junior developers. That's really, really key. And that's a really good thing to write. So here they're going to be training new and current employees, specifically in software and XYZ technology. So let's say you're bringing in a Java developer, they can be training junior Java developers. It's all about reskilling or bringing in new skills. And you want to, for category B, you want to actually have one kind of mandatory benefit. So investing in skills and training is the mandatory benefit, and then you have 2 complementary benefits. So these are the complementary benefits: knowledge transfer, and then increase company best practices and policies. Again, there's a copy of this. I know there's a lot of wording here, but basically what you need to know is that you're going to do a rough draft of this, or basically what you think you're going to want to write, and it's different for every company. And then the government will call you and ask you questions about it and really try and get something more concrete in order to be able to apply. And they'll actually work on this with you for the process. So it's really great and pretty straightforward on how to apply once you've done that. So I'm gonna quickly take a break, and I know I've talked for a long time here, and just want to open up for questions. If anyone has any questions, I can. Yes, you will get a link to the PowerPoint, Murat, and all this. Actually, we actually have the ultimate guide for the Global Skills Visa on our blog, and I'll share that blog with you right now in the chat, just for everyone to see. And then, of course, we'll have this as well. Cool. So SM asks, "What does the labor?" Yes, it does. Applies to both category streams. Yes. Good question. Yeah, of course you can do a voice question. Just unmute yourself and let's chat.
Hey, how are you?
Good, Hussein. How are you?
Good. So I was the one who pasted the list of companies out there. I reached out to one of them specifically to ask for a referral, but they came back and said that they only do internal referrals. Those only for companies within their program. Do you know if any of these companies will do external referrals for a high growth startup who needs the referral?
It's a great question. I don't know for sure. I don't know, the only ones I have really strong relationships with are Mars and BC Tech. So I couldn't speak for the others. But where are you based?
I'm based in Toronto.
Okay, so maybe I can introduce you to Mars, and you can chat with them. Are you trying to bring in someone who would fit in category B?
I think it's probably going to be a category A. It's like a senior marketing person who has some very specific experience. But yeah, it would be. I mean, I just emailed Craig Leonard at Mars. Hopefully, he'll get back to me. But yeah, if you could help with that, that'd be great. And then I have a follow-up question to that. So the person we're trying to bring in is still unsure whether he's going to be permanently in Canada or staying in the US. So we're thinking about starting him off on a contractor basis. So like a 4 to 6 month contract where he'll spend half his time in the US and half his time in Canada. Would this type of visa still apply?
Good question. I'll say that I don't know 100%, so I don't want to give you faulty information. I don't imagine it not applying because they'll be in Canada working. So, even if that's one day of a year in Canada working, they still need a work permit. So I would say that it should apply, but I don't know 100%. Again, it's not, I don't want to say 100% and then be wrong. So I think so. I'm pretty confident that you would need this visa for it, and it would apply if they want to be working in Canada for any amount of time. So yes, I would get them this visa.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And please email me. Just my email is ilya@vanhack.com, and I'll introduce you to Danielle from Mars. She's the Director of Talent Services there.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. And then I saw Edil just asked about your spouse. Yes, you can definitely bring your spouse and your kids with you on this work permit. So everything will be, the government Canada is very much all about keeping families together. So yes. Cool. And then M. Madero asks, sorry, I didn't see your question the first time. Thanks for asking again. So this is basically a replacement. This is a replacement for the LMIA for tech talent. So if you are, looking to hire software engineers, designers, that list of NOC, and then as well as really high skilled people who will be making over $80,000 or you're in the designated referral channel, you do not have to do any advertising. So you do not have to do an advertising requirement. You do not have to create a transition plan as you used to have to before. None of that stuff is needed anymore. Really, it's much more simple and straightforward.
Hi there, it's Mariana.
Hi, Mariana.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. It's informative. So my question is around hiring Canadians as well as bringing international tech talent. We spoke with an immigration lawyer recently, and she said that in the plan that I think you referred to, we also have to show growth in terms of hiring Canadians. Do you know, is there a ratio, or if let's say we bring 5, international tech people, developers, then how many Canadians do we have to hire?
Yeah, good question. I haven't heard of a ratio before. I think what it is kind of a case-by-case basis. So I would just encourage you to apply and see what Services Canada says. I definitely think that, you can't, you can't just, have all your team, for example, be international. I think there has to be some kind of balance, but they haven't explicitly said that. And we've actually also another great kind of interesting point that is related to your question is we've had a process be done where it was the first employee to be hired was from abroad. So the company got their LMIA approved even though they didn't have any other employees. It was literally a single founder, and she had her company for quite some time, I think 10, 15 years already, but it was just her as the only employee of the company, and everyone else was interns or contractors. And then they were able to get the LMA approved, and now we're just waiting for the work permit to be approved, which is just a matter of time for this. So even if you have, if you're a one-person startup, you have to have been around for a little bit of time. You can't just create a company in order to bring in talent. That doesn't work out either. The government's going to want to see a little bit more track record, but it is possible to bring in talent that way. And again, I don't know the exact ratio, but I would encourage you to apply, and I could find out actually for you and get back to you on that.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Yeah, no worries, my pleasure. And I see a question here by S. Benoit about 2147 was advised we need to pay minimum wage in our region. Why does your slide show NA? Yeah, so a lot of the slides are showing NA, and that's just how the government had it on their website. And then, so that's why this is just a screenshot of their website. And so it's incorrect from the government website actually. So you could just go to, and I'll share the link of the wage report for you to see, and then here, let me just, this link is here, but it's you can search. It's funny, their website isn't so good, and the one I have here is, oh, here we go. Actually, this is a better link that sorry. Yeah, the other one was already pre-searched for a specific region. This second link is better because it's not pre-searched. So yeah, just make sure and be careful with that, because we've had some unpleasant experiences where companies were offering like 65K and they had to go up to 70K. Yeah, I guess it's good for the candidate, but it's not such a nice surprise for a company when they're budgeting and forecasting. So you want to go in with eyes open on that point. Hey, Thiago, good to see you here. And I'm guessing Thiago Arujo from who got hired at Predictable Revenue, one of our members who's working at a fast-growing startup in Vancouver. I'm not sure if it's the same one, but good to see you here. Quick question: for how long is the visa type valid for? It's valid for 2 years. Yeah, awesome. It's valid for 2 years. And then this is a really great thing, because basically in those 2 years, the candidates can apply for express entry after having 1 year of work experience in Canada. Most of that qualifies most of the time, almost all the time, for Canadian experience class. And then you can apply directly for your permanent residency, and you don't have to worry about visas anymore. And then become a citizen in a few years after that, or a PNP program. So speaking of PNP programs, if anyone here is in British Columbia, it's really cool to see British Columbia launching a tech PNP, provincial nominee program. So basically you can get a permanent residency before in I think it's a few weeks or a month now if you work in tech. I don't know all the details of that program. It was just launched recently. So if there's any employers here in British Columbia, I highly recommend you check out the PNP program. Just Google BC Tech PNP, Provincial Nominee Program, and you can see that. So there's definitely, I think, a movement across all the entire country to bring really, the tech talent that we need into Canada. Cool. I'll take a couple more questions. I'll quickly talk a little bit about VanHack, and then we can get some more Q&A before we finish. And by the way, I just want to say thanks for sticking with me, guys. I know these webinars can be a little bit dry sometimes, and I'm trying to make it as lively and fun as possible. So yeah, thanks for the questions, and it's really nice to be here with everyone. Cool. So any tips for job seekers when to find a job? Yeah, I guess use VanHack. That would be my take, Egberto. So I guess that's a good transition to what VanHack is, and I'll quickly, like I said, really quickly go through a little bit more about our company, and then open up to some more Q&A. So let's go. So basically, what VanHack is we're an international a company that helps tech talent get jobs abroad, as I mentioned. We've been around for about almost 3 years now. We just finished TechStars in Berlin. And we have a community that we've built of over 100,000 technical professionals, ranging, a very wide range of skills, all the way from software engineers, of course, to digital marketing, animators, people who work with VFX, and we prepare them. So at the core, we're an online school, we prepare them, help them with English, with resumes, with career coaching skills, really help shine them up, as we like to use the diamond in the rough metaphor, and then present them to companies. So we work with a lot of companies, about 200 companies now, big ones like Accenture, Booking.com in Europe, and Kick, Skip the Dishes in Canada. Thinkific is a great startup in in Vancouver, Plenty of Fish in Vancouver as well, and Zendesk as well in Ireland. We connect companies to this kind of new hidden talent pool that they didn't know about before. And I'll quickly talk a little bit about some success cases and kind of the way that usually what we see with companies is that they kind of go from having to pick and choose or like maybe compromise on talent because they can't find that talent locally. And then sometimes we hear the word, we overwhelm them with talent because we know there's all these really great software engineers, designers, technical professionals that want to move to specific cities in Canada. And we're able to quickly identify those talents. Thinkific, Attraction on Demand have hired, both have hired four software engineers from us. It's, I guess, something that we really are proud of because we have the community, we're able to quickly source great talent. For example, a great example of that great talent is Elise, who got hired as a full stack, more front-end actually developer at Picatic, which is a company in Vancouver. She's been working there for a few months remotely, and they're going to go help her move to Canada with our help in the visa process. And I guess another thing that's really important is we also have a mission this year to help 17 female VanHackers. That's what we call our members, female engineers, or software engineers, get hired by the end of 2015. We're at 8, so we have 9 more to go, and we have already identified a pool of about 200-300 really, really strong female engineers. So that's something we're seeing as kind of a strength looking globally, is you're able to find more diversity. And then I guess another quick example is Felipe, who is a senior Ruby on Rails developer working at Clio. He's got 15 years experience, really, really talented guy, and he was hired and started working at Clio a few months ago. And these are kind of the talent that we have, is people like as well Thiago, who's on the line with us here, who are about 35 years old. Usually they're looking to relocate to Canada or Europe for quality of life reasons, and we're able to help them make that transition. And then we're able to connect companies with really, really good talent they didn't know about. So we vet all the candidates, make sure they have good English, good coding skills, and are a cultural fit. And then we really like to say we're very, very fast, and we're able to find qualified candidates within 24 hours. And that's kind of all I'll really say about VanHack, since I want to talk more and answer your questions. But if anyone has any questions about that, of course, please get in touch. And I know that Madhush has also been doing a lot of great work on talent, so get in touch with him or myself, for any of your talent needs. And thank you, Thiago, for writing down the comments about us. Okay, great. So we have about 20 minutes left. If anyone has any questions, please, let's hear them.
Sorry, I missed a part of it because my internet got disconnected. So for category B, it was saying not applicable for minimum salary. Does it mean that for software developers, we don't have to follow what the NOC code for that area suggests for minimum salary?
No, you do. You have to follow it. Yeah, again, I think it's I think what it is that it's different in every region. So there's not like a national median. So I think what happened is the government didn't put the median salaries online or the minimum and maximum wages on their website. But yes, you very much have to follow the median average or the median wage when applying or when processing this visa. So make sure that you are paying that that wage, because if not, you're gonna say you either have to pay the median wage or you won't accept this application. Again, they really want to be careful and not make this seem like a low cost way of bringing talent in and kind of taking advantage of that fact.
Yeah, and number two, like in the US, when people go to a company with H-1B, they have to work there for 3 years, and if they want to change companies, they have to go to the process of getting H-1B again. So it helps the companies that if they invest that money up front and they get the talent, they at least have them for a while. How about this visa? Let's say we hire a candidate from Ukraine, come here as a software developer. Can he jump to the second company the day after?
Great question. That's something that we should mention. No, they can't. The visa is a closed work permit, so they are only allowed to work with your company. However, as you can see, the visa only takes 20 business days. Technically, they could arrive and just playing devil's advocate, I haven't seen this happen, and I really doubt that it would happen. But they could arrive and, a week later get twice the salary or something, and, Amazon or some other company makes them an offer, and, they could, go to that company. Only thing they would have to do is wait for that new process to go through. So that company would have to apply for a new work permit for them. But as you can see, it's not such a complicated process.
Do they have to leave the country for the new work permit?
No,
so they can't stay in Canada.
Yeah, they just have to go to the border. Yeah. So I guess what I would say to this point is honestly, like if you're worried about that, that's the same issue that any other Canadian has, right? So it's not like there's any difference between hiring a Canadian or permanent resident who's already in Canada. That same problem could happen again, or in that case too. And then also, you know, I think if, I guess, like, yeah, it's just up to you to really make sure you have a good place for the person to work and really do a good vetting process. What we recommend usually is a company works with a candidate or an employee, in this case, they're working together for 2 or 3 months remotely while they kind of assess that person, see if they're a good fit, et cetera, get a better working relationship, and then go through the visa process. We've seen that be very successful, but of course, some companies just want to get the person into the country and in their office right away. So yeah, this is definitely a sensitive topic, I would say, but it's an open market, and it's up to you to do a good job to retain talent, just as if you were hiring a local. And I would say the H-1B visa is actually kind of negative in that point, because we've heard a lot of companies hiring people through H-1B, and basically that company owns the person, and you know, there's some, I don't know all the details, and I've just heard stories of companies really treating the talent unfairly and saying, listen, if you get fired, you have to go back to your home country in like 20 days or something, and then it's pretty impossible to get the new H-1B. So I think this makes it balanced and fair for both sides.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
And what are the costs for the company, including application fee?
$1,000.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Cool, great questions.
Andres, you had a voice question?
Yeah, and Leandro, I saw your question.
Yeah,
let's talk about Canada for now.
Yeah. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. So my question is, I had a question before if this was just related to tech talent. My situation is that I'm more of a finance person who has started a fintech company in the US. And I guess the question to you is, have you ever seen any people, or have you worked with people that are more on a senior level executive without sort of the coding skills that have gone through or can go through this program?
Yes. So I haven't seen this because our focus is tech talent, but I think if you are over that $80,000 a year salary, then, you know, I think in 5 years experience, you know, you can kind of hit category A and all their needs. Then I would say there shouldn't be an issue. But again, I personally, and the VanHack in general as a company, we only really focus on technical talents. So we've had experience more with category B.
Okay, so you would just recommend that I do a little more research on the category A for that?
Yeah, yeah. And if, for example, I don't know if you're a Communitech partner or a member, or if you're a member of Mars, I would reach out to them and become referred by them to Services Canada.
Yeah, I'm not actually. So Mars, what's their website, if you wouldn't mind? Mars and the other company that you mentioned.
I don't know off the top of my head. I think it's
Mars, MARSDD.com.
DD, yeah, Discovery District.
Discovery District, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the other organization that you mentioned earlier, what was that one? The first one?
Communitech. I think it's just Communitech.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys need any introductions for Communitech, just drop me a line, hello@medisha.com.
Okay. Terrific. And this was Madhusha, you're the one speaking, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you very much, both of you. I really appreciate the webinar. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure. And yeah, if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out. Guys, I need to switch rooms quickly. I'll be back in 30 seconds. So just hang tight. I'll be right back.
Perks of working at an incubator.
It's better than what I'm doing. I'm at a Tangerine branch in downtown Toronto in between meetings.
Yeah, no, good to see you. If you guys have any more questions, put them on the chat window, as well as, and then the other thing what we'll do is we have a Slack channel that we're more than happy to invite all you guys, and then introduce you to more other people as well. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, meeting rooms are always a tricky. Okay, great. So we have about 10 minutes left, and yeah, any questions at all? We are here to help.
I have a question. It's Mariana again. I'm just trying to understand your model. Are you guys like a staffing company or a consulting company, or do you have a product like a Hire.com sort of model?
Yeah, we like to think of ourselves as Hire.com for immigrants. Mm-hmm. So it's just the same model with them. We have a marketplace,
like a platform, technology where you can match employees to consultants. I mean, to developers.
Exactly.
Huh. Very cool. And what's your pricing? Can you talk about it, or do you want to just take it offline?
Let's take it offline, but it's very similar to Hired.
Okay.
Actually, can we not take it offline? Because I think that might be of interest to everybody. So maybe take the soapbox and just tell us a little bit more about VanHack.
Cool. Yavor, thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, we work with a 20% of annual salary placement fee, one time, contingent, of course, on them staying for over 3 months. Make sure that they're successful. The price of that also includes all our help with the visa and having E&Y review it and make sure it goes well. So yeah, that's the pricing, and I guess the kind of benefits or reasons of how we're different than the Hire.coms of the world is the international scope. And so this allows us to kind of find really high level candidates quickly. And I think we have a couple here in Thiago specifically, who was a senior Ruby on Rails developer who got hired at, like I mentioned, so maybe Thiago, if you want to say something, that'd be cool. But yeah, that's really the kind of quick overview on how we work.
What are your top countries for tech talent at the moment?
So we have talent in 73 different countries, and one of the things we like to say is that we can find talent in specific regions if you like, and so that's kind of the general. But to answer your question specifically, we're seeing a lot of really good talent coming out of Asia and South America. So places like Argentina, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, India, Pakistan, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines. And then also starting to see more and more out of Eastern Europe, so Russia, Ukraine, those kind of places.
Right. And do you specifically focus on Canada only, or are there like US or any other countries?
Yeah, so as you can tell from the name, I guess, we started focusing just on one city, Vancouver, and then we expanded into all of Canada, and now we are actually in about 10 different countries. We have customers in Australia. We work with Canva in Australia. I'm not sure if you may have heard of this really good product for Photoshop, or kind of online Photoshop, Canva. We use them as well. And then we have customers in France, Dublin. We work with Accenture, Ireland. And we work with a lot of companies in Germany. I'm in Berlin, as Madhusha mentioned. So all over the world. But Canada is still our home, so really like to bring talent to Canada.
And is it only about bringing people physically here, or is there remote workers as well?
That's something we definitely offer. For example, a company in Canada hired 2 senior mobile developers with us who are working remotely this week, or they hired them this week. And that's something that was definitely part of it, but the main kind of focus is on relocation. So, there's a lot of candidates who want to do remote work, but it's not something we specifically focus on. So I know there's great talent platforms like TopTal and others do a really good job with remote. We kind of offer that because our candidates are looking for that, but it's not really the kind of thing we talk about all the time. So to answer your question, yes.
Ilya, we have a few more questions on the chat window.
Oh, cool. Thanks. I didn't catch that. Murat, cost is $1,000. So just a one-time $1,000 fee. And that goes to the government. Yeah, that goes to the government. And they basically, I guess it's for government costs. Yeah. How do you handle instances where companies end up being a bad fit? Yeah, Space Cowboy, cool name and good movie. So we haven't had this happen. I'm knock on wood, like we've never had this happen before. Usually what we see is candidate arrives, they work their butts off to prove themselves in a new market. But if this would happen, we would definitely help and help them find an opportunity. And then also, yeah, like if worst case scenario, they've maybe been in Canada for a few months looking for a job and then they have to go back to the home country. I guess that would happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And I mean, think about it. If you're a software engineer in Canada, chances of you getting a job are pretty high. So we would help you. We would help the candidate make that happen. And then of course, I'm sure there's many others who would be happy to talk to them too. So yeah. Melissa, cost is just for Canada. Yeah. So this visa cost is to the employer. And again, one thing that's really important is the candidate cannot pay for this. So like, we've seen some instances where it's like, hey, like candidate, please cover this cost and we'll hire you. It's like, that's totally not cool. So, it has to be paid for by the employer and it's, it's the same price for no matter what. Yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. Thiago, I don't know if you're open to this, but do you mind just quickly sharing your experience of getting hired at predictable revenue? I don't know if you're able to chat. Cool. Hey,
yes,
Thiago.
So, hey man, how you doing? So I've been a member of VanHack for about 2 years now, I think. And I saw some opportunities, some of them never got to the final stage of the interview. But then about 2 months ago, I got this really cool opportunity from a company in Vancouver called Predictable Revenue. So I have a good chat with them. The interview was cool. So they like me, I like them. I also like them. And so they hired me last month. So I started working with them. And VanHack gave me all this support. So like the visa support and they explained for the company how the visa works and help them with the application. So they did the application last week, I think. So it's probably going to be finishing in about a week or maybe 3 weeks, So it's really cool to be able to do that. And I'm going to Vancouver with my wife. So I'm really happy to be able to do that. And VanHack just helped us so much, and Ilya also helped us so much. So I'm really, really grateful for these opportunities. Like if you guys want to work in Canada, you should really sign up for VanHack because they're really great, they're really cool, and there are lots of cool opportunities there. So there are a lot of jobs there. So if you want to move there, you should definitely sign up for VanHack and apply for the jobs there. So it's been great.
Cool, thanks, Thiago. And quickly, do you want quickly talking about your experience? So what languages do you work with? How many years experience do you have?
So I've been a software engineer for about 7 years now. So I have lots of experience with Ruby on Rails, and full stack development, also C#, stuff like that, JavaScript. But for this opportunity, I'm working as a Ruby engineer, so full stack engineer. So I work with JavaScript, AngularJS, and Ruby on Rails, and also SQL, Postgres, and stuff like that. So
cool, awesome. Yeah, no, those are really great skills, and I'm sure you're going to have a great career at Predictable Revenue, and yeah. So congrats again on that, and thanks for sharing this right now.
Thank you, Ilya, and thanks again for helping me. It was really, really, really helpful and very useful. So I'm very happy to have this opportunity. Thank you again.
Cheers, no worries. Awesome. So yeah, I guess I think nothing really speaks better than the actual results. And one thing I always say is we hack together. It's our first value of our company. So yeah, I'm glad to see you here, Thiago. Thank you. Cool. We have about 3 minutes left, and if there's anyone who has any last-minute questions about anything, I guess the biggest thing I really want to share with everyone is this visa is way, way, way easier than how it used to be. It used to be a huge headache. The 4 weeks advertising requirement showing why you haven't hired specific people. that applied and creating a transition plan to bring on more Canadians, etc. Now it's much easier, much faster. Thiago's one of, I think, 6 or 7, as I mentioned, people that we brought, we're helping bring to Canada all across the country. And of course, if, very obvious, if you would like to chat with us and learn more, just go to vanhack.com, and we have employers sign up there. You can also email myself and Madhusha, and we'll be sending you all the information, the recording of this webinar, and all the links via email right after this. And yeah, please, if there's any questions, I'm happy to spend another.
I have one question. So first, the visa that they give the employees, how many years is that for?
2.
And 2 years. And if the employees want to stay longer, what is the path for their immigration?
Yeah, it's really straightforward. Afterwards, they can apply for express entry or a provincial nominee program. Provincial nominee program, and I can only really speak for BC that I know well, Ontario a little bit too. I think
you can apply after the first year.
Yeah,
1 year work experience.
Yeah, I think you can apply for PNP even with less than 1 year experience, and you can apply for Canadian Experience Class after 1 year.
Yeah, PNP, they cannot get it because they didn't study in Canada.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the number come underneath 474, so they don't get into the pool.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm not an expert on all of visa stuff, but
so this visa will be also eligible for those permanent residents. Okay.
Yeah, they can get a PR right after the first year.
Great.
So then no one has to worry about visa anymore.
Great, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, guys, the fire alarm is going off at Communitech, so I'm going to leave the building. But drop me a line if you guys have any questions. More than happy to make introductions. And Ilya, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about the visa program today.
No, it's totally my pleasure. And thank you, Madhusha, for setting this up. As I was just saying, any other questions, anything more specific, please get in touch. And we'll be sharing all this information with you via email shortly. So have a great rest of the day, everyone. And thanks again for being here. Cheers.